3, 2, 1.
Boom, and welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Boss Shot Shells. I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world-famous Andy Shaver.
Those 9s are the real deal. Guys, we're shooting them out here all last weekend, and poor Dove didn't even stand a chance. So,
Smoke Show City.
Go to BossShotShells.com, get your Stanfield 9s. Teal season's coming up, and I'm ready to see what they do up against the Teals. So, I have a feeling it's going to be similar results.
Well, them suckers are good. We tested them last year, and they shoot excellent. So
They do.
Order them from Boss Direct. Call them up. Tell them you need the Stanfield 9s. They can ship them directly to you, and they've got them in 20s and 12s. I don't know if they're going to have any 410s and 28s, but 20s and 12s. Also, like to say a happy birthday to Harry in heaven, who's not here with us no more. So
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Harry.
We didn't have anybody in the draft last night take all the Cowboys and defenses way too early.
That's why C.D. Lamb fell to the third round to me.
That's right.
So Jacob Britton, I drafted C.D. Lamb. So you always get on to me about being a Cowboy hater, and we'll see how many damn passes he drops this year. So
He dropped 4 last year.
yeah, but they were in big crucial moments.
Oh, were they?
They were all for first downs.
Oh, all for first downs.
Yep.
All 4 throughout the season.
You know who CD looks like? You'll never guess. Anyways, do you ever remember Friday where they had the Christmas show?
No.
And the dad and brothers got brothers barbecue, and Day Day and Mike Epps are their security guards, top flight security of the world.
Right.
They have a Christmas party, and Santa Claus is going around stealing Christmas trees and shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking CD Lamb. Pull him up on the deal, and you're gonna say, "Wow, that does look just like CD."
Well, he's got Santa Claus shit all over.
Yeah,
him.
but he's got the old, not the, I don't know what you call that hairstyle and shit. Got that skinny look to him. That's CD Lamb right there.
Huh.
I'm telling you. And he runs like CD. He's fast. I love me some CD Lamb.
I don't know. Yeah, you're gonna love him this year.
Oh, I'm all about CD.
Should be. He's a good player. Real good player.
He is a great player. I'm just not he's a good Dallas Cowboy. It's hard for me to really like many of them. I've had Dak numerous times on my team. I like Dak as a person. So, anyways, and RIP to the LSU Tigers.
Yeah, that's sad.
They're out for the year, basically.
Yeah.
Ain't that suck? You get beat before Labor Day, and your basic chances of making it to getting to play for the ship are done.
Right.
They hired Brian Kelly from Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting a Brian Kelly football team.
Yep.
I couldn't believe they hired him in the first place.
Sad deal, but somebody was going to walk away and not have it. So, I mean, it's either going to be them or Florida State. It's just the way the
Florida
cookie
State
crumbles.
has got it. I told Payne last night, I said, listen, here's the advantage LSU has. If LSU wins out the rest of the year, they're right in the middle of it again.
Right.
Because you're going to win through the SEC. If you beat Alabama and you beat Georgia and you win out, you're going to be in the show.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is Florida State is got nobody else to beat except Clemson. They got a powder puff schedule after this shit.
Right.
So it looks really good for Florida State. So it's better to be a Seminole today than an LSU Tiger for damn sure. And I don't think LSU is bad as they let Florida State run on them and stuff. I think they're in big trouble.
It's sad. I always like to root for LSU. They're a fun team to root for, but
A lot of good coon asses hunt with this. Good people.
They are. But speaking of Florida State, guys, here, did you see this? They were asking.
No, my cousin Junebug.
They were asking Dion.
He was a crackhead and good dude though, but he was very athletic because he was still stuff when I came home from college and could never catch.
They were asking Dion if Bo Jackson was the most athletic guy that he'd ever come across, and this is his answer.
Could never catch him, and he would sell it, and I would have to go get it back at the hood from the drug dealers. He was probably the most athletic, my cousin Junebug. But next to that, I think it was Bo.
Is he the
Next to that was Bo.
Junebug.
Oh, Junebug. He was a
Everybody knows a
crackhead.
Junebug. Junebug the crackhead.
He was a crackhead that nobody could ever catch him.
Is Deion Sanders better now than he ever was when he played?
I think he's got that. Kind of that dead dog mentality.
That's what I was going to use.
Right,
Yes.
yeah.
Where he never had a bad day when
Right.
you look back on him, but you know
Right.
damn well he did.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But
He was insanely athletic. They said he was just as good a basketball player as he was football and baseball. If he would have put his mind to track, he would have a gold medal by now. So, but yeah, I think he's kind of got that mystique around him right now.
it's like Tom Brady. 10 years from now, Tom Brady would have went 417-0 as a quarterback,
Right.
basically.
Yeah.
Because he's going to get better. It's like wine. It ages with time. And I watched Dion from college to the pros, and he was really good, and he was a Cowboy, and he was a lockdown corner. But it seems like he's better as he's retired. He's gotten better since he retired than he really was. And he was really, really, really good. That kid that he's coaching at Colorado. Now, they played TCU, and he lined up against TCU's number one. TCU's number one last year was a first-round draft pick. I don't know what the kid is. I don't know what TCU's got. Nobody does. It's early season.
It's first game of the year.
And a lot of teams that are ranked high are not that good, and there's teams that ain't ranked at all that are going to be very good, especially with the transfer portal. So I don't know if that kid locked down a really good receiver or not, but the kid damn sure is a hell of an athlete to play both sides of the ball the way he did.
But none of this is Colorado's fault. Like, everybody's trying to hand wave away what Colorado did.
It's amazing.
Going into week 1, TCU was a ranked team.
Yes. You only beat who you're scheduled.
So, I mean, it's not Colorado's fault that whoever makes the rankings gave TCU a high ranking, and it's not Colorado's fault that Vegas gave them a 3-touchdown
Underdog.
spread. Yeah. None of that's Colorado's fault.
No.
So you can hand wave what you want away. You can say, well, TCU's not the same. That's right. That's 100% right. But regardless, they went into Fort Worth playing a ranked team, and they were 3-touchdown dogs.
In 130-degree weather.
So
now, we watched the game like I think most everyone did, and it was a great football game.
It was.
TCU,
That's my kind of football game.
TCU did not help themselves.
What do you mean?
Well, they threw 2 interceptions inside the 5-yard line.
Yeah.
They hurt themselves a couple times. But I'm saying the game was a great game. It came, I was listening to a guy last night talk about, in Colorado, it wasn't a blowout football game. It was a game until the last possession.
Yeah.
I mean, TCU turned the ball over on downs at the 50-yard line with a chance to win the game. It was a great football game.
Yep.
Now, if Nebraska somehow beats Colorado, which I do not think will happen, but Matt Rule is a good football coach. And if they'll give time if they'll leave him alone in Nebraska, he's not Scott Frost. I think that I would not be surprised if Nebraska plays Colorado pretty close.
Really?
I really would not be surprised. That will take all the luster off Colorado. Now, if Colorado goes in and blows out Nebraska by 4 touchdowns, that USC Nebraska, South Carolina, or that USC game with Colorado is going to be a big football game.
Well, and they play Oregon the week before that.
Who does?
Colorado.
They play Oregon and SC?
Yep. I
guess Oregon's in their conference, so that would happen.
Back-to-back weeks.
Yeah.
I think they've got Nebraska, Colorado State, and then Oregon and SC.
Who do you think had the most disappointing this weekend? The most disappointing weekend. Okay, LSU. I wasn't going to put LSU in there.
And Texas Tech.
I was going to say TCU, Texas Tech, or Baylor.
Tech, because you're going to Wyoming.
Baylor got beat by Texas State.
Yeah, but Wyoming, other than Josh Allen, Wyoming is, they've never had anything go their way.
Did you watch the game?
I did not.
Okay.
I watched a little bit out here, and then
we watched the entire game at the house. When we got home from Dove season, we watched the whole second half. It was a late game, and it went into double overtime.
Yeah.
And
I couldn't even tell you what happened. My grandfather said to me that the quarterback looked like shit. He said they got to make a quarterback change.
I want to tell you what the problem is. Wyoming looks like a pedestrian, rich white kid school.
Oh, really?
I think they had 2 black guys that started. They're not a fast team at all.
And
they didn't look very athletic.
So we didn't even get out athletic.
No, and that's and I'm not saying somebody from Wyoming's like, oh dang, my cousin plays there. I'm not saying they don't have some good athletes. They do. They're playing Division I football, but they look slow. But if that's what Tech is going to be having trouble with when they're facing Oklahoma and Texas and Oklahoma State,
might be ugly.
It might be a long fucking year for them. I'm telling you. In Houston, it's got some athletes.
And everybody was so excited about the recruits that Tech brought in.
Well, they're freshmen. The transfer portal has really fucked up football, though.
Why? Because it's pushed everything 4 years down the line? Like
no,
you can't tell what you got for 2 years?
Well, no, you just don't know that the team you're playing against, like Oklahoma's had their back against the wall the last 6 years, and then they pull in Kyler Murray, and then they pull in Jalen Hurts, and then all of a sudden, and all these other teams are doing the same thing. The kid that was the big stud for Florida State last night, I think he played for Michigan State last year, the wide receiver.
Right.
And he was a freaking stud. But I think it's changed football, and so it's going to be hard to – you just don't know what you got until after and who everybody else has until the season's 4 or 5 weeks in because of the transfer portal.
People that make the line on these games have to hate – they have to just take an ass raping.
Well, they dump that money off on somebody else.
For the first month of the year.
That's how that works.
Well –
and I'm assuming in Vegas does the same thing. If you got $20 million bet on the Cowboys, then you want $20 million vote on New York.
Right.
And then you make 10% profit in the middle.
Yeah.
That's the goal to the bookie.
But it's got to be hard to make these lines.
Oh, I would think so. Those guys are really good at what they do, and it's amazing how close they are.
I mean, well, they weren't in TCU.
No, but
They
and
weren't in Texas Tech.
there was another 20-point dog too that won. I
Really?
can't- Yeah, I'm trying to think of who it was. Maybe Texas State against Baylor. I think that's what it was. I think Baylor was 20-point favorites over Texas State.
For Blake's sanity, I really hope Nebraska plays Colorado close. Close. That was just like when we got to the fourth quarter. So like when we were watching the Colorado TCU game, and Colorado was ahead the whole time. You know, you start getting to the fourth quarter, and it's like no matter how this turns out, even if they lose by a field goal, which I know is not the outcome that they want, but like they've already done what they needed to do.
They proved that
they proved that they could do it. Now, even if you lose by a field goal, so even if Nebraska loses to Colorado, if they can keep it close and they can contend with them and make them win on the last drive, that will be a big boost for Nebraska fans, I think.
What got me was I saw it might have been on the podcast page. A guy was bitching about TCU. Well, you know, they were so overrated last year and blah, 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 blah. So you as an Ohio State fan are bitching about TCU, who beat Michigan, who won the Big Ten last year over Ohio State.
Right.
TCU played everybody on their schedule and they won last year. They got blown out by a great Georgia football team. But other than that, they didn't get beat out of nobody. They beat Michigan, the Big Ten champions. So you can say what you want to say about them. Now, I think if Michigan would have played TCU 10 times, I think Michigan would have won 7 or 8 times, though.
Right.
I think it took the perfect recipe for TCU to beat them. But they was there. And they deserve to be there. They beat everybody they can, and they got beat in the last game of the year. Now, that's not the same team that played Colorado yesterday.
And I understand that.
Not by any means at all.
I got that.
But they still was a good football team. They're a solid football team. Colorado played great. I don't understand. Do people in Nebraska hate Colorado more, or do they hate Iowa more?
I think all the attention's going to Colorado now, so I think it's Colorado. Nebraska is only a 2.5-point dog in this game.
That's probably a pretty close bet.
So the over-under is 58.5.
The under's what now? 58.5?
Over-under is 58.5.
I would take the under.
Really?
I don't think Nebraska can score 15 points.
Yeah, but, well, that's true too.
I mean,
but if Colorado plays like they did last week, they're going to score 45.
Well, they might.
So, and that's the other, like, we'll get more answers as the year goes on.
It was an interesting game. It was a fun game to watch. That was a good game.
I hope that's I hope Thursday night when the Chiefs play the Lions,
52-49 would be a perfect game.
Fucking 45-42, and let's keep it.
It's
rolling.
exciting football.
It is.
That's what people want to see.
Nobody wants to see a defensive battle.
No, and nobody wants to see nobody run the ball all the time anymore either.
They said when TCU had to start throwing the ball that was counterintuitive to everything that was making their offense go.
Yeah,
because like when you were watching the game in the late third, early fourth quarter, they were just ripping off 8-yard chunks every time they drove it up the middle.
Yeah, I kept thinking they were fixing to take over the game.
But like you get to this situation where the clock starts working against you, and now you have to start throwing the football, and that's not where they were making their yardage in the second half.
They had a 4-point lead, and they were running the ball, and they got inside the 10. And I told Payne, I said, I said, this 20 points might happen here. Because I said, I have a feeling they're fixing to go up by 11 right now.
Right.
And then they threw an interception.
Yeah.
And then Colorado went and scored on a long run or long play or some shit. And then they come back and scored again. But every time I would think TCU's fixing to get the things going, they'd fuck themselves. Or Colorado took it from them. I'm not saying they didn't give it to them. But that one kid is really good. And he's going to be a legit Heisman deal because he plays both ways and he's good. But he is damn sure a better cornerback than he is receiver.
But they said, like, if he catches that touchdown that he dropped, and he also dropped an interception, he's leading the Heisman race.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Who are you?
That's what Dion's saying. That ain't happening. The kid at USC's, the Heisman's his to lose.
Caleb?
Yeah, if he comes out and throws the ball for 460 and 6 touchdowns and completes 85% of his passes like he does.
So that makes the game with Colorado even more interesting.
That
Heisman implications.
That game's liable to be 90-65. But SC has a lot of athletes on defense too.
And, you got offensive genius, future Hall of Famer Cliff Kingsbury.
Or just let's go with Lincoln Riley. What do you mean? Who's coached more Heismans?
Cliff.
No. Cliff's had one Heisman.
Who? Manziel?
Johnny Manziel.
Okay, who'd Lincoln Riley have?
Didn't he have Kyler Murray?
That's 1 for 1.
Didn't he have Jalen Hurts?
Was he already gone?
Baker Mayfield?
I don't think he was there for that.
Baker Mayfield did not play for Mike Stoops.
Cliff Kingsbury had Baker Mayfield also.
He didn't coach him to Heisman, though. He would have wanted it. Didn't Baker Mayfield win the Heisman? Didn't Oklahoma have back-to-back Heisman Trophy winners?
I can look it up. I don't remember.
I think Baker won the Heisman, and so did Kyler Murray did. I know Kyler did. And I think they both won them. And I ain't so sure Jalen Hurts didn't win the damn thing.
Yeah.
Who?
It was Baker, Kyler, Joe, Devontae Smith.
Okay, Joe.
Bryce Young, Caleb Williams.
Okay.
Derrick Henry was a Heisman winner in 2015.
I did not realize. I would have lost big money on that. But anyways, Cliff Kingsbury has won.
Should Reggie Bush get his Heisman back?
Yes.
I feel like he should. After watching the Johnny Manziel documentary and seeing all the shady shit that he was doing, like, Reggie Bush should get his Heisman
Did getting
back.
paid make any difference on how he played football? No. It's not like he was taking steroids.
Right. And, I mean, you've got Johnny Manziel out there being like, this is what happened. And because didn't they retroactively take away Reggie Bush's? Like, was he under investigation? Well, I mean, Johnny Manziel was under
What about
investigation.
Everybody.
But it wasn't that.
Should they let everybody out of prison that sold marijuana in places it's legal now?
I would think so, yeah.
So if you break a law and then they change it, it's not breaking the law no more, they should let you out of jail.
Yes, I mean, I am for, like, let's get as many non-violent offenders out of jail to make more room for violent offenders.
That makes sense, actually. It sounds stupid, but it makes lots of sense.
On my part, it sounds stupid.
Well, it just sounds stupid. We're going to let people out of jail to put more people in jail, but it does make sense.
Well, I mean, you got violent offenders that are,
I agree.
you know, they get a slap on the wrist when you got a guy that sold marijuana 30 years ago that got a 40-year sentence. And it's just...
I don't have a problem. I just asked you the question, what you thought on it. Because, yes, Reggie Bush should have it. Pete Rose should be in the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Reggie Bush should have his Heisman. Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame. So should Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire. Mm-hmm. I don't give a shit if you took what you took to bulk up. You have to take a round or a bat that's a cylinder, and you have to hit a round ball that's round, not like the earth, round like the ball, and knock it out of a ballpark. And that's hard to do. Yeah. I don't give a shit who you are. And so they should all be in there. But yes, Reggie Bush should get his Heisman back. OJ should have his Heisman.
Did they take it away from him?
Yes.
Why?
I don't know. I don't understand with what you do outside of football has anything to do with what you did in football.
I didn't realize they took OJ's Heisman
I think
away.
they took. I know USC took it down. I think they took it away from him, and I don't know why. What they should have done though is make him auction that off and give to them families. I got no problem with that. But that I'm pretty sure they took it away from him. But yes, Reggie Bush should still have his Heisman.
Or he should get it back.
First of all, who the fuck comes and takes it?
I guess the Heisman committee.
And I'd have told him to go kiss my ass.
Right. But I mean, you know, especially with this Johnny Manziel documentary. If Johnny gets to keep his, Reggie Bush should get his back, is what I think.
And then today, everybody can get paid.
Yeah. Exactly.
I saw Caleb Williams on a damn Wendy's commercial with Matt Leinart. I mean, here's a guy starting for USC on a Wendy's commercial, nationwide Wendy's commercial. And I don't blame Wendy's.
No.
Now, the kid from Colorado is not real pretty.
Travis Hunter?
No, he's not a pretty kid. He's not a real pretty specimen.
Well, I don't think that has anything
to
do
with...
But,
what I'm saying was, if I was a company right now, a nationwide company, and I wanted to get me someone that kid would be who I would be after right now.
Oh, I'm sure he's got plenty of offers after Saturday. I don't think he's hurting in the cash department.
Now, everybody's talking. It's kind of like LeBron's son. Oh, he's going to be a lottery pick. Oh, Deion's son's going to be like. I don't know how good Deion's son's really is. We played one game still.
We'll find out.
But he looked really good. But we will find out how good he is if he's a legit NFL quarterback.
If he keeps doing that.
But he threw the ball well.
He did.
And that's the key to the whole thing.
A lot of good reads. So, a lot to be excited about if you are a Colorado fan. And Nebraska could have had him. Could have all been in Nebraska.
Oh, that's why they hate that. I just now put that together now. Okay, now, because I asked Blake, I said, why do y'all hate fucking Deion in them? So I just get sick and tired of hearing about him. Did they offer him money?
I don't think.
It was a big move when Colorado hired him.
he was rumored to be looking at Nebraska. It might have just been rumors, but
they should have jumped on him.
I mean, yeah, Colorado, $28 million a year, didn't have the money, and it might not be a year, but $28 million deal, and didn't have the money, but knew they were going to get it, and now they're sold out.
They could go around Aspen and Vail and pass the hat around and come up with the money for him, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. No, they said they more than covered they said they're good. They got the donations. They got the
that team fits
football sold out.
You're going to get sick of Deion Sanders because he's going to play your Red Raiders every year. But that offense fits into the Big 12.
When does that happen? Next year? I'll have to go to that game. If they play in Lubbock, I'm getting tickets.
Colorado, TCU, Baylor, all them teams run that offense. Houston, be really good. Let's talk about what's going on. We're going to do a Fox News segment today. We're going to highlight the headlines on Fox News. We're going to talk about them.
Burning Man.
We can start with Burning Man. I don't really know a lot about Burning Man other than what my uncle Larry used to go to Burning Man 20 years ago. He come by the house one year after he had left there, and
sunburn and dehydrated.
He looked like a withered up old fart is what he looked like. And he was 55, 60 years old when he went, and he was retired and lived in Phoenix, and him and a bunch of guys would there, and they would take a motor home, drive out in the middle of the desert. And he said what they would do was, he said everything was on trade and barter back then. You trade and barter, but they would fill up their motor home with cases of beer. And he said they had enough beer that they would make sofas out of them. Wow. And they would sit on these beer cases around there. And then he said we'd watch all the good looking women walk by half naked all day long. Well, as a 55, 60-year-old man, I could understand that'd be pretty interesting. Right. And be a people watching. And he told me, he goes, it was just a whole different breed of people out there.
A fucking bunch of weirdos.
And he said basically it was that too, but he said it was fun to watch. He said, tired, we ain't missing nothing from work or nothing, and do it. Well, I guess this year they got some monsoon rains there.
Sounds like it. But the QAnons, evidently Ebola's everywhere, and people are getting boils popping up and coughing up coagulated blood, and 60,000 people are stranded. They can't get out.
Now, I said Chris Rock walked 6 miles, and somebody picked him up hitchhiking.
No way.
Yeah, look at I just read the damn thing just earlier today. A-list comedian hikes 6 miles. Chris Rock and Diplo, whoever the fuck Diplo is, shared their Burning Man escape on social media. Chris Rock, the 50-year-old comedian and 44-year-old DJ, made it out or walking for 6 miles in the mud and hitch and ride with a fan who offered them a lift on the back of his pickup truck. Diplo documented their adventure in a video shared on Instagram that showed Rock and a group of people packed together in the back of a truck. Rock can be heard just saying how about it, he wants a cold brew coffee.
Go to Dirty Duck. They got you taken care of.
You imagine? Who is this chotch? Oh, that's Chris Rock.
Look at this asshole needing a ride.
But what I don't understand, Diplo, whoever the hell he is getting on a private jet to go to Washington, D.C. for something pretty good. Chris Rock should be a man of pretty deep pockets. Would you not figure?
Yeah.
Would you not figure he'd just get somebody to call in a fucking helicopter and come pick him up?
Depends on how deep this rabbit hole you want to go. FEMA, they're alleging that this is now, FEMA's coming in and shutting everything down.
They've got the airport shut down there.
It seems to me like this is a Woodstock 2000 type of thing, like rain and just nastiness all over the ground. And I don't know anything about Ebola. I don't know how you get Ebola.
I don't think it's just born and out in the desert. Somebody had to have it.
Right. And I guess with all the water and everybody walking through it, but I've read, I'm trying to find it now. It was on TikTok, it was on Twitter actually. I bet I can do it that way. Do
you think if the alphabet agencies wanted to put Ebola in a system, that would be a perfect environment and a petri dish for it?
Yeah.
I mean, you got people isolated. They can't get out.
They said that this is the Q people. The government spread Ebola through the rain. So,
oh, Jesus Christ.
That's what they think. Let me...
You know, on your 20-30% deal, I'm like at about less than 1% that happened.
You don't think so?
No.
Hard out on that?
No, that's a hard out. Now, our government infecting someone with Ebola?
then
putting them in the
them-
crowd there and knowing they were going to have a weather event because everybody knew it was going to rain a bunch.
They did know that?
Well, yeah, it was not. I mean, it was a hurricane was just coming in on that deal, but that's a perfect place to infect a bunch of weirdos. But those are the people those are the people that are controlled easy by the government, anyways. I think because most of those people going there are pretty much liberals, anyways, aren't they?
I've never been to Burning Man. I have no desire to go to Burning Man. If
No.
there's one thing that I hope for my children,
They don't go to Burning Man.
just don't go to any fucking music festival. Just nothing's gonna come good of it. Like, just
You never went to a music festival and had fun?
I've never been to a music festival.
Well,
Yeah,
what
not
do we
I don't
consider
even
a
wanna-
music festival? An outdoor concert? I've never been to a music festival.
Like
I've been to
like
outdoor.
a week long, like a Woodstock,
No,
like a week
no, that
long.
don't-
You're sleeping in a tent and dropping acid, and you're there for a week, and just don't do that shit. Any girl that goes to a music festival is a fucking whore. Like
Woo! Wow.
she's
have
that's what
done-
that's what it is. I mean, you go out there, you take a bunch of illicit drugs, and you fucking throw your ass in a circle, and that's what it is.
She's a whore. So some girl can't be dating a guy and they go to a music festival together.
They're swapping. They're swappers. If you're at a music festival with your girlfriend, no, I wouldn't want to go to
So
a
you're
fucking.
not talking about just a weekend country concert. You're
No, I'm talking like Burning Man, like
Okay.
a week long. If you're at Burning Man,
So
with,
every
with
woman
your,
that went to Burning Man's a whore, you're saying?
she's putting her ass in a circle, boy. Throw that ass in a circle, girl. Taking drugs, you go with him. It's the peace and love movement. It's
Okay.
all that it is. I'm trying to find some of this stuff.
So if I told you
Whore might have been a strong word.
if I told
Slutty.
you your grandma went to Woodstock,
Slutty. Yeah, I know what she did there, and I would know what grandma. Now she did not do that, but, yeah. If somebody were like, yeah, I was at Woodstock, it's like, oh, yeah, a train ran on you is what ended up happening. That's why you got that. That's why you fucking gouch-eyed,
so
lady.
you got that caboose on you, girl.
Yeah, that's why you walk with a limp. You're still walking that off from Woodstock. I can't find any of the videos from that I was watching about
But you know
Burning
they've got the
Man.
airport shut down.
that, and I think from what I'd read, one of the jets that landed that was flown out of there was like immediately quarantined as soon as they landed in LAX, and like it's a big deal wherever they land. It's a big deal.
You trust our government there? That's the problem. Nobody trusts the government.
Well, I mean, could Ebola have been spread by the government there? Sure.
But it's what I'm saying. If we have not learned anything about our government lately, is they are real big on fucking censoring what they want to censor.
Right.
The deal in Hawaii, I still don't understand what's going on there. You got this big night, this fishing village that they said was a beautiful place is burned to the ground, but certain stuff didn't burn and some did. We've got a mutual friend from Hawaii. He told me he thought it was taken down by the power lines because they've done a terrible job of doing them. But the response by our federal government has been absolutely horrible. Now, your man, The Rock, who's a fucking sellout, I think also, him and Oprah have teamed together.
Yeah. Have you read that?
Between them, they're worth $4.5 billion.
Right.
I'm not a wealthy person by any means. I'm not even have the R in rich. I am poor with the capital O, with the 000 or an O in the middle, poor. And I still could donate some money to give to them, but I don't trust a fucking soul out there. But if someone in Hawaii, I could donate some money straight to them, I would. If I had Oprah and Rock's money and stuff, I would have no problem at all getting around and calling all my wealthy friends and raising $50 to $100 million
Right.
and taking it to there and doing something with it without doing it. They said the person that's in charge of their trust has got a $400,000 salary already.
Wow.
That's where all that fucking money's going.
Right.
It's kind of like the Haiti fund the Clintons did. Haiti's still a shithole 20 years later.
Yeah.
Where all that money go to? You know, every time, and with the Red Cross, I don't trust the Red Cross either. Something fishy's going on in Hawaii, and I'll tell you another thing, too. They've got military blockades around those neighborhoods. I was at Moore, Oklahoma. They had an F5 fucking tornado wipe out half a town, killed a bunch of people, leveled it. They didn't have any military blockades blocking shit off.
Right.
Those people need help and stuff. They won't even let people get to their property. Why?
I guess what The Rock and Oprah did was basically they set up infrastructure for when people donate their money. So the money that they basically created a company
Yes.
is all that they did. And then they're going to get all this money donated to them. And then it's which if the guy that's heading it up has a $400,000 salary, well,
That's where the money's going.
Right.
It's just to prop up more of their own shit. But what I also read, and you don't ever know how true any of this shit is, and so it's hard to trust any of it. But I had read that there's people already offering these people that are put out money for their property at about 10% of what it was worth.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds to me like it's a big land grab fixing to come happening up there. And I'll bet you in 5 years, if you look at the deeds on all that property, it's going to be to Oprah and Rock and a bunch of rich celebrities are going to own all that stuff.
I got to remember my ex sign in.
And it's a shame that we're that point in life, but that's the way everybody feels about it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing good that seems to come out of the world right now. And it's very still. Is Twitter going to go back to Twitter? Or is it always going to be called X?
No, it's X, Jeff.
Because I always forget to read Twitter because I used to see the bird all the time. Mm-hmm. And so now I see X and I was like, oh shit, and I go read it. Because I'm a Twitter fan. I don't tweet, but I read Twitter all the time because I can look up anything and you can kind of get a little truth about what's really out there because you get both sides on it.
Right. Shit.
You forgot your download?
Yeah, it's on my phone and I don't know. Anyway, all the Burning Man stuff was on X, so I was trying to log into it. But evidently, they're telling people to shelter in place. Like, how are you going to tell 60,000 people shelter in place? There's no food.
They're in the
no
place.
Water.
There's nowhere else to go.
Yeah, but there's nothing there for them to eat, drink. Like, it's a shithole.
Well,
so I don't know what's going to end up happening.
And this is what's another really sad thing about that is the government. It's not hard for them to take a military helicopter. 29 Palms or whatever it is not probably but a 2-hour helicopter ride or an hour helicopter ride away from them, loaded up with humanitarian shit. If it's just cases of water and granola bars, and go take it to them.
Look at that. That's Burning Man. I don't know what that is, but they buried that fucking Jeep. So I pray that my kids do not ever go to Burning Man or any music festival.
One of your kids will never go there.
Like, I mean, is that the girl you want to bring home to mama? Is that the kind of chick that you want?
No, she's too skinny.
Well, I mean, that's
She's got some big feet on her, though.
I mean, fuck, that disqualifies you right there. You dress like you're in fucking Mad Max.
She's got Michael Obama feet. She's just trying to get her boobs fixed, though. Good for her.
God. Fucking nothing but betas out there. That's why I don't want my kids to go. You're beta. Billionaire's private jet. Stuck. Basically, this is...
I am going to be completely 100% honest with you. When I was 20 years old, I'd have been all about going to that.
88NV. If you don't know what that is, 88NV is Burning Man's private airport that they set up for incoming and outgoing flights to the festival. In the last week, about 880 flights have operated there. Most of them were charters, right? Private planes. So the number of tie-down aircraft is really unclear. They have no idea. They closed down the airport. The ingress and the egress have halted until further notice, and no driving is permitted except for emergency vehicles, which makes the next closest airport Reno, which is about 135 miles away. Light traffic in and out of there as of today. Everyone's been told to shelter in place, but 2 mega rich people are getting out, and they got out in a spectacular fashion. After walking 6 miles, they did this. Diplo and Chris Rock escaped by jumping on the back of a fan's van, I guess. Poor Chris Rock, hasn't he been through enough? For weekly real estate and money stories free.
Anyway, so that's Burning Man.
I'm going to look up right now on my flight map.
What?
I have an app that shows flights.
You don't think that guy was telling you the truth?
No, I'm going to look and see right now what the flight, that's what he was on, flight app. It's on the same flight deal.
Horrible. Did they even get to set the thing? Did they even get to set Burning Man on fire?
I don't know. Reno, Donner's Pass.
I mean, it's just the same as, it's just Bohemian Grove is all it is for a bunch of other people that aren't uber wealthy. What do you think that that was
Still
in
no
the,
flights out of there.
What do you think was in the envelope at George Bush
I
Sr.'s,
saw that too this weekend.
Bush Sr.'s funeral?
That's one thing in life I will never know that it was. I think it would be neat to know what it was in there. I'm going to say it was something that was scary to those people.
Because look at I mean, they're all just like, you got Jeb there, hand over heart, Laura, as Bush Senior's walking by.
Somebody said, not somebody, I read a deal, and of course, nobody knows for sure, but people think that whoever's running the country, the deep state right now, had a picture of George Bush that they didn't want nobody to see. That was something that was really...
Well, a lot of people say that it's that. They know everything. I'm sorry, George H.W. Bush. Because everybody... Here, I think here's the video that I was talking about. Because I think everybody got one. Trump and them did not get one.
Because he didn't do shit wrong.
But, like, if you watch them, they all kind of open it up at the same time.
Who gives it to them, though?
Yeah, I think it was in their seats when they got there. But they've all got one. Well, I guess Melania might have
George
something.
looks like he's about to shit in his drawers.
Yeah, everybody's got one. Everybody's got whatever.
I used to really like that guy. That's a shame.
Whatever's there. It's not going to show him opening it. But whatever it is, like Hillary Clinton looked like she... Maybe this is it. I need to do a better job of like pinning this stuff. So Clinton gets it. She's opening it now. Biden got one, but he didn't know what the fuck he was looking at. He's confused as always. And then there's Jeb after Laura reads it. So, I don't know. It's interesting stuff, though.
Yeah, it's something we'll never know. But it was obvious that it was something that was given to everybody but Trump, so it was the deep state.
If Trump did get it, then they didn't show it.
He didn't get it.
I don't know if
he's not in the group.
He's definitely not that.
He's not in the deal. So,
and I mean, whatever it was, it ruined it ruined the Obama's night, Clinton's night, Bush's night, Biden's night. So, whatever it was
whoever the puppet master is.
Must have been.
What do you think about them now? They're pushing that they think the best way to keep Trump from winning now is to just keep him off the ballot. If Trump was a bad guy that the left wants us to think he is in the media, would you not want him to run for president? Because me personally, I hope Joe Biden runs again.
Right.
I mean, with that, if there wasn't some weird shit going on, we wouldn't even have Biden right now. We all know that. Everybody knows that in the whole world, especially when you get outside the United States. The media out there talks about it. But I want Joe Biden to run.
I don't think he's going to. They're going to do the old switcheroo last minute.
But that's why I want Joe Biden to run, because he can't win. But Joe Biden is their puppet. They love him because they can control him. They can't control Kamala. She's too fucking stupid. She'll talk.
I don't know. It's not going to be Biden, though.
Who do you think it's going to be?
It's not going to be Biden. I don't know.
I don't think it's going to be Big Mike either. I don't think Big Mike wants all the exposure.
Do you do a DNA test? See what chromosome she's carrying around.
She does not want to be put in that spotlight, I don't think, because of all of this.
Right.
But, I mean, let's be honest. If she pulled her pants down and showed us her little woman thing, nobody would believe it was true. They'd think it was fake anyway, so it don't matter at this point. But I don't think she runs. I don't think the Democrats have a candidate. Gavin Newsom's not a candidate for them. California's a shithole now, too. The problem is they're going to do the same thing they did the last election. If they in a fair election, they don't have a chance.
Right. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see who they bring up, because I do not think that it's going to be Biden.
Well, who do you think maybe?
I don't know. I mean,
we are now a year and 2 months out.
It's going to be late. There's no doubt about it. It's going to be late.
I mean, they don't want your boy Kennedy.
Nope. Maybe they get The Rock and Oprah.
What's bad is somebody like that could run and people be like, oh, yeah, we need that.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the problems the Democrats are facing now is they've lost the black vote.
Yeah, they said Trump's up like over 20% with the black vote.
And I bet it's around 25%.
Right.
In truth be known. You know? You can't get people to vote on it. They've done that for so long. I mean, it started with LBJ, and they promise and promise and promise, and they don't do anything.
Yeah,
and we've got some major issues in our inner cities. Mm-hmm. The lack of respect for the law and just the shit that goes on is just absolutely terrible.
Well,
Now,
shitholes.
we always talk about, I always call people for what they are. The white trash at the Morgan Wallen concert, the chicks fighting.
Don't go to concerts, people.
Your boy Morgan Wallen that you love.
I don't love them.
Did you see the chick in the white? She was there to whip ass and take
She
names.
was. I don't know what led to all that, but
She went in the fucking bathroom and jerked that one chick out and punched her right in the fucking face.
I don't give a shit what you've done. You could have felt my wife up. I'm not chasing you into a porta potty. I might wait till you come out, but I ain't going into that fucking cesspool.
Well, do not
punch anybody.
Do not take Jesse around Dan Reese if there's a porta potty around. Okay,
We don't go to music festivals. So
that was just a concert.
Well, either way, it's the same.
Was that Arrowhead Stadium?
I don't know where that was.
I think it was in Kansas City.
Might have been. Speaking of music, how 2004 Prince got left off of the top 100 best guitarists by the Rolling Stones. Look at this clinic that my boy Prince is about to put on.
I never said he wasn't good.
No, you fucking scoffed at me when I said
he's not Eddie Van Halen.
You fucking scoffed at me when I said he deserves to be one of the top guitar players. I mean,
he's not Eddie Van Halen, but he's good.
Goodness. Just. Oh.
He's a music genius.
Oh, my goodness.
Because he could play just not the guitar. He could do anything.
Look at him. Look at that.
Yeah, he's great.
Look at that. He hadn't even warmed up yet.
You wish you'd have seen him in person?
Not in a setting like that. Just him and a guitar up there would have been awesome. But
you wouldn't want to go see Prince of Revolution?
My
if I could,
God.
if I could go
Look
back,
at that shit.
I've seen him. He's great. If I could go back in time, I would love to go to a Minneapolis nightclub when him and oh my God, I can't even think of his damn name that I like. Also, Morris Day played. Morris Day in the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to go back to a nightclub when they were both playing together. That would have been awesome.
People sleep on Prince, and I don't understand it.
I don't think people do. You just think because nobody anoints him as the greatest ever. He's good, but I don't think he's the greatest ever. But he's very, very, very good. But you know what's the difference? It's all an opinion. It's kind of like fucking gymnastics.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference between the top gymnast and the sixth gymnast? Not much. Someone's opinion.
Right.
Same with musicians. You know, you can't say he's the greatest. I think Eddie Van Halen's one of the greatest. I think Randy Rhoads, if he'd lived a full life, would have probably been the greatest. You've got Jesus Christ, Watchtower. Can't think of his name now.
Jimi Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix. Eddie Van Halen. Prince. I mean, there's lots of tons of great, and there's guys I've never even heard of that are great guitarists. Roy Clark was a great guitarist. He just played acoustic guitar most of the time. I mean, there's Willie Nelson's a great guitarist.
Here's a video of the evolution of Welcome to the Jungle. Do you think you can handle this? It's pretty depressing.
Do you know where the fuck you are? Do you know where the fuck you are, Doggy? Do you know where the fuck you are?
He had some chops.
Do you know where the fuck you are?
We'll just get to the last decade. Skip ahead. Skip ahead. Why is it not skipping ahead? Uh-oh. We broke the internet.
Well, I saw him say that in person around 1989, maybe.
Everything froze again.
Why was it bad now when he does it?
Oh. Yeah, it's pretty...
I wouldn't go see them now anyways.
You wouldn't?
No.
You said you were going to buy tickets.
No, I would have until I've seen all this new shit come out.
The last one's really bad.
Oh, God. Still one of the greatest riffs ever.
I agree. I agree. But that's one of those things. You should have struck when the iron was hot, not be such an asshole, not be difficult to get along with, and you could have tripled your net worth. And I don't know what his net worth
How
is.
much
He's probably
money-
got enough money to
How-
buy. He's
how-
got enough money to fix
How
his
much
eye wide.
money do you think they lost out on for 10 years not cutting a new
Oh,
album?
fuck. I don't know.
They were the greatest rock and roll band when they were playing.
Because when did it say? When was the last? It said they didn't play again until 2001.
Would they go from 1990
93.
to 2001 without it during their
93.
peak times?
Left at the height.
Oh, they were badass. That November Rain.
But it's one of those things. Do you burn out or do you just fade away?
Well, they fucking didn't fade away though.
Isn't that what it is? I think it's better
Yeah,
to
burn
better to
out than
burn
fade
out
away.
than it is to fade away.
They burned out, and then when they come back, they were burnt.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I always hate it when guys stick around too long and they try to reinvent themselves. That's Jimmy Buffett just died, and that's one good thing that Jimmy Buffett never did. Was he never tried to reinvent the wheel. He found what he was good at and he stuck to it.
Well, that's a big loss for us old people.
It is.
Me
but
and Mom have been 3 or 4 times to see him.
Mhm.
Great. Now, if he plays some of his new shit, everybody in the crowd was not impressed.
No.
We wanted to hear the old shit. We wanted to hear what we came for.
Right.
And Jimmy Buffett was the best at what he done. Now, Kenny Chesney is the next one on that list.
Right.
Kenny Chesney does not have to cut another song ever and can play his shit he's got now and play them until he's 78 years old also and will die as one of the greatest entertainers of all time. Jimmy Buffett was a great entertainer. Jimmy Buffett was not a great singer. He was not good at anything other than being an entertainer.
This says Axl Rose has a net worth of $200 million.
He'd be worth $1 billion if he would have kept playing music.
Kenny Chesney has a net worth of 180
180 billion?
million.
Well,
So,
I wonder why. That surprises me. That really shocks me.
I did Kenny I don't know if Kenny ever caused a buzz like Guns N' Roses did.
No, but he sells out every fucking thing he does, and he goes to #1. I don't know. Now, worldwide, Kenny
royalties,
Chesney's
maybe?
not worldwide like Guns N' Roses was. Them
Right?
Japanese people, they eat that fucking rock and heavy metal shit up, or did.
Yeah, because he said, "You know where you are, Tokyo."
Yeah, I mean they eat that shit up. So, I don't know. That surprises me that Axl Rose has got more money than Kenny Chesney. Kenny Chesney's got his own rum company, I think now.
Poor Slash is down there at 90 million. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that because
Well, if he's worth $200 million now, and his peak time for them 8 years that he could have been playing music, he'd probably be worth at least $500 million or $1 billion.
but it's one of those things that's like it creates a mystique around them, right? Like if you're there and you're out there and like people start to see you decline and like when you just vanish, you're got this aura around you.
Well, he vanished because he was a dopehead and an asshole.
Well, still,
That's why he did it.
it created a buzz around them.
So did Aerosmith? Were they better to burn out and fade away? Because them some bitches, they burned out and they came back better
Motherfuckers
than
have
ever.
come back about 3 different times. I don't know, but not everybody. But they could have if Aerosmith hadn't have reinvented them. If Aerosmith hadn't have come back the way that they did, it
Because
would
Run
just-
DMC.
Yeah,
Do you
just
thi-
like Def Leppard. I mean, Def Leppard just kind of went off into the sunset.
Well, they were good for a
But
little bit.
I still think that they're playing now. But I wouldn't go
Probably
see
at
them.
casinos in Oshkosh or some shit. Would you say Steven Tyler's got one of the best voices ever?
Yeah.
Better than Mick Jagger's.
Well, yeah. Way better.
I don't understand the whole thing with the Rolling Stones.
No, I don't either.
I've never, and they're all still alive, aren't they?
Don't get me lying. Rolling Stones. I can look it up. Good song. Come on, Wikipedia.
I'll give you a person that's funny. An analogy of their lives is Axl Rose and David Lee Roth. Axl Rose was a party animal, so was David Lee Roth. Axl Rose was a fucking asshole. David Lee Roth was not. David Lee Roth just liked to party and was uncontrollable rich kid who started singing. He's never had a struggle in his life, I don't think. Where I'm assuming Axl Rose comes from a single mom that he got the shit beat out of him by his stepdad or his real dad or some shit. I don't even know Axl Rose's story, but I bet Axl Rose did not come from a real solid family where David Lee Roth did.
Right.
I think David Lee Roth's dad was a doctor in California.
Yeah, it acts like some of the Rolling Stones are dead. Charlie Watts.
I don't know anything about. I've never been a Stones fan. There was a guy lived down the street from me when I was a teenager, and him and his wife loved the Stones. They would go see them a couple times a year all over the United States. Save all their fucking money up to go see the Rolling Stones. That was their big thing, was the Rolling Stones. And I never, ever, ever could understand what and they just loved them. And I just never have been a Rolling Stone fan.
Yeah, I mean, they've got some songs you could listen to, but no, I don't understand the fascination. But that was also way before my time, too, though.
They have a song that's a funeral song that's really a good song. And it's a slow kind of song. And I wish I could think of the damn name of it right now, but it's a really, I went to a couple of funerals that they played the song at. It was standing at the, God, what's the name of that fucking song?
I hate everything.
Mother, father, I can't think of that. Somebody will message me 3 days from now and tell me the name of the song.
I'm trying to pull up my iTunes so that I can listen to this shit.
Something at the Crossroads. You can't always get what you want.
Can't. Oh yeah.
That's a good song. That's probably my favorite song that they've ever had. I'll tell you a band we never ever talk about that did the same thing the Guns N' Roses did is Boston.
Yeah, I wasn't a big Boston
They
fan.
had one album that was huge.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't do another album for a decade.
Right. Spotify will probably let me play it.
You can't always get what you want. That's a really good song.
I think Trump walks out to that.
That's a good tune. But that's about the only Stone song I like.
Yeah. Oh, well.
You know, Mick Jagger was almost Justin Trudeau's dad instead of Castro.
Mm-mm. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think they passed around Justin's mama.
Because she went to music festivals. That's why. Gimme Shelter's good. Sympathy for the Devil.
Nope.
Paint It Black. Start Me Up.
No,
Gimme Shelter is the one I like. Sympathy for the Devil's good.
the only one I like is that Can't Always Get What You Wanted. That is this first of that is a great song.
Yeah.
But I'm not a Stones guy. But hell, they got to be 80 years old.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's them right there. So
There's
somebody's
lot.
going to throw a hip one of these days.
They say what's his name's the devil reincarnated Keith Richards. Jimmy Buffett, that's a big loss, man. I tell you what, I feel sorry for all those people that worked for him. Shakura, that Utley kid. I'm sure they're well taken care of anyways, but those guys have worked for him for 20 years.
I guess he was good to him.
I'm assuming. I know a Jimmy Buffett story that's not so good, though.
Oh.
Had a kid that some people in East Texas are going to know what I'm talking about, too. 25 years ago, I had a group of guys that hunted with me. They hunted with me a couple times, and one of their good friends' son went to work for Jimmy as an accountant.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I'm supposed to be telling the story or not, but it's been forever. So, anyways, this kid was an accountant, and he told his dad, he said, hey, he goes, it's really weird. There's some stuff going on with these books. I'm finding a bunch of money. He said, some weird shit's going on here. Anyways, that kid went and talked to the people that was the handlers. He disappeared. They never seen him again.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
This was 25 years ago. And the dad started asking questions, and he more or less got told, you better go back home.
How could you do that as a parent, though?
I couldn't.
Just go back home.
I couldn't. Now, I'm sure that over 25 years, some parts of my story and my memory are not exactly the same, but it was basically to that effect, though. But at that time, Jimmy was doing a lot of business with going to Cuba and stuff.
Oh.
So I don't know what all was happening, but I don't understand what gain someone like Jimmy Buffett would do by doing any kind of smuggling or something. I mean, fuck, was he worth $500 million? And he was big at this time. I mean, he was just as big as he is now. I mean, shit, he had all his restaurants going and casinos and
$1 billion.
$1 billion. I mean, so there was nothing for him to gain by, but maybe people working for him were doing something they shouldn't have been doing. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when he would fly, like when we'd go see him in Frisco,
Yeah.
there'd be 7 buses parked there. Jimmy Buffett ain't riding on a fucking bus.
Mm-mm.
His ass would go sit on that bus before they would play in something, but he'd get in his private jet, or he liked to fly himself. He's a great author too. I've read 2 or 3 of his books. That's one guy I would have liked to have met. I would have loved to have talked to him for a minute, just 5 minutes. I found him to be a very interesting man. He lived in Long Island. He would fly. He had a boat. I read one book that he wrote, and he'd fly his plane and land in the bay and fish. And he got to be friends at a local fish shop there at Long Island, just a little fishing village part area somewhere, and got to be a regular. And he'd go in there and have coffee and visit with those people.
Really?
Yeah, he liked to be around regular people.
Did you see Kenny Chesney went to just like a regular bar, just a beach bar?
Did he play?
Started playing. Somebody like when you're at your favorite beach bar and Kenny Chesney shows up.
Did they let him play?
Yeah.
Because our good friend in Albany did that. A real famous country singer, Bucky Neal's going to get a kick out of this, was at their ranch deer hunting and wanted to play with his guitar. And we'll just say does a remake of Fast Cars. I won't mention names. And he goes, "Hey, do you mind if I get my guitar and play?" And the other Bucky's friend, the other ranch owner there, said, "Oh, we don't do that gay shit here." And then like 2 weeks later, it's like, "Man, I like that guy." That's some bitch was trying to play at the damn campfire, and you wouldn't let him play.
Yeah, he wanted to play.
Somebody's talking, lady, shut up.
Yeah.
What is she doing?
She probably don't know who the fuck he is. She's probably like, he'll make it one day. That would be cool.
Yeah.
One more night to kill me, baby. One is one too. One more is never.
Do you think that, like, whenever Kenny does this, like, let's be honest, like, that's not, the acoustics aren't set up and, all
He
this
sounded
other
excellent.
shit. He did. But do you think that keeps a lot of people away? Like, if he goes in there and the mics are all fucking, scratchy and, you're blowing out your speakers and stuff like that, it wouldn't hurt Kenny. But there's other guys that if they did that and the equipment wasn't up to par, like, it could sink their career.
There are some bands out there that I've heard play that need the fucking studio to be a band. My
Right.
buddy Randy Black's dad used to say that all the time. Oh, they're just a studio band. And I never would forget. He used to say that all the time. He liked live music. He'd go see it. And he'd come in and told me Diamond Rio, this is forever. Diamond Rio had a really couple of big hits.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, I like Diamond Rio. He said, well, you don't want to see them in person. So they're a studio band.
Right.
I go, what? He goes, oh, they're terrible. He goes, they got to have they have to have everything to help them out.
It's got to be dialed in.
But Kenny Chesney could sit and just could come in our room right here without any acoustics and play, and he's very good. His voice is excellent.
Yeah.
And he's very talented. But I think guys like that get off on that kind of shit. I think they really enjoy that. Man, it makes them feel good. And the people that see him think, man, what a cool dude.
Right.
Like I've seen Steven Tyler sing on the streets with the guy was singing one of his songs. Have you seen that before? Street singer singing, and Steven Tyler's in the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Steven Tyler goes up and starts singing with the guy, and the guy's like, oh my God, but the kid was damn good anyways. But Steven Tyler's got that voice. He's one of those. Like Willie Nelson, you don't want to hear Willie Nelson singing without some help.
No, I don't want to hear Willie Nelson
No,
sing
he's a
at
terrible
all.
singer.
I think this might be it.
Jimmy Buffett was not a good singer.
Yeah, but he didn't try to be crazy.
Look at this. This is badass. The kid's like, oh shit.
I thought
No.
Steven Tyler was bigger. Kid doesn't even remember the words.
He's scared.
That's pretty cool.
That old man can sing
Yeah.
as good as anybody.
And then, like, you got to figure, your voice isn't warmed up, just walking around the streets of wherever this is, Vegas, LA, and somebody's playing your song. And then it's like, hey, let me hop up there real quick.
I seen a kid in New Orleans one time playing Tennessee Whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
He was fucking as good as Stapleton almost.
Really?
Very good. Stapleton, that's a remake song. I love David Allan Coe. I love David Allan Coe. Grew up listening to David Allan Coe, seen him many times. Chris Stapleton kills Tennessee Whiskey.
It's Chris Stapleton's song.
Oh, it's not even close to being David Allan Coe's song.
So,
but that's what I like. That's
national anthem is also Chris Stapleton's
Chris
song.
Stapleton is a very, very talented man. There's no doubt about it. He is a lot better singer than David Allan Coe, but David Allan Coe is very talented also.
Yeah.
I can't believe David Allan Coe's still alive. I mean, I thought he died 20 years ago, and I think it's just some other redneck looking some bitch goes up there and sings. He's had such a rough life, but man, he's got a great voice. Come Back to Boston is a great, great, great song.
Mm-hmm.
He is very good also too. I don't know if I'd go to his concert anymore.
Why?
Oh, I just think I'd be awful disappointed.
Oh.
I don't want to pay money to go see someone. I saw Rodney Carrington in Vegas one night, and I was so disappointed. I mean, fuck. I could have got up there and done probably about as good a job as he did. He was so fucking drunk.
Yeah, but I think everybody kind of goes through that.
Oh, it was terrible. But he's still he's so talented. Play a guitar and sing, and he's funny. But I don't want to go see someone and be disappointed like that when I see him in person. That's like,
now you know how people feel when they come out here. Like, oh, it's just you guys.
yeah. Well, we ain't nothing. We are exactly who we are supposed to be, but we're not drunk, and we're usually not. But I don't want to see somebody that does that like that. And I'm afraid last concert I went to was Kenny Chesney. I really liked it. He put on a hell of a show. It was everything it was supposed to be. And I'm not a big concert guy. There are a few concerts I'd like to go see still. My biggest regret right now is we didn't go see Alan Jackson.
Is he done? Not playing anymore?
He's sick now, I think.
Oh, is he?
But boy, what a great performer.
I guess.
I'd
don't know.
like to see Alan Jackson. I don't know if he's a great performer. I just really like him. And we were going to go see Bob Seger.
Right.
And we didn't see him. I'd like to go see Bob Seger.
There's nobody out there I want to go see.
Nobody at all.
Nobody. Not a soul.
Not even an acoustic set, just you and them and an acoustic set.
No, nobody. Like,
I don't want to fight the crowd.
If they're not coming to the Big Honker Lodge and playing by the fire out here, I won't. And I'm sure, because my wife loves music and she likes going, so I'm sure I will get roped into another concert. It sounds like there's one coming up next month in Lubbock that we might be going to.
Who is it?
Parker McCollum. We know somebody that knows somebody that can.
Yeah, that's pretty easy. You can get right in the back.
Yeah, so
you're gonna have backstage passes. And
maybe
stuff. You will.
But I don't want to do it though. I have no desire to go do that.
I'm with you right there.
None. Parker's are great. He's got a lot of good music. I understand it, but I have no desire to go.
So if Parker come on the podcast before he came there and asked you to come, then you'd come.
Yeah, I would do that, but it's just whatever. Whatever. I don't care to do that.
So I'm assuming Jesse went over your head to this person and said, "Hey, can you?"
Well, no, we were sitting around your brother has already done this, and he's like, "Hey, do y'all want to come?"
So Tony's already done this.
Tony has.
So you and Jesse.
Tony has stopped our mutual acquaintance and said, "Hey, can you get me and my daughter backstage passes?" He said, "Yeah, that's no problem." And now Tony's like, "Hey, we're going. So do y'all want to go?" And when he said it, I was like,
"Oh." When is this?
Sometime in October.
Please tell me it's when me and Mom are going to be out of town.
I think it's a Tuesday.
We're going to be in Canada twice on Tuesdays.
It's before that or after that. I don't know.
If it's after that, I think we're going to be in Maine. So
I really hope that it's during it.
Yes, I don't want to go.
Parker, I like his music. He's a good-looking young kid. Got a lot going for him. Come to the Big Honker Lodge. I'd love to meet you here.
I don't blame you for that. But I don't like that kind of stuff either. I'm not into the crowds. Did you see Smash Mouth singer died?
Oh, he did die.
Yep, died this morning.
Well, God rest him. I don't get people that get all upset about the celebrity death.
No.
They are as alive to me now as they have ever been.
Yeah, because you don't know him.
I don't know Jimmy Buffett.
No.
That motherfucker could be on. He could have died 10 years ago and it wouldn't have affected me. But I don't understand when people, devastated to hear this news. It's like, why? You can still listen to his music. You want to hear Jimmy Buffett? Fucking go to iTunes right now and type him in. Why is that going to ruin your day? He did not know you. You did not know him. Save your outrage, save your tears for somebody that you actually knew.
My mom bawled like a baby when Elvis Presley died. I
don't get it.
I was 8 years old, and I'll never forget that.
I could kind of understand that.
I did not.
Elvis was different. Elvis was.
Oh, here we go. So now it's
Elvis was. Well, Elvis was on a different stratosphere.
my mom. She picked me up from the babysitter.
Balling.
Oh, she was like crying. I'm like, well, something happened to Dad? You know, I'm thinking something happened to my dad. Elvis died.
Elvis is not with us anymore. Elvis has never been with us.
And what do you think the chances are of we got an old car, my mom's car. This is in 1977, I think, is when Elvis died.
Had an 8-track.
And she had a 73 Gran Torino. What do you think the chances are getting in that car that there was Elvis on KTRN radio on the way home?
I guarantee you.
It's all that's on the fucking radio for 3 months.
Right.
Elvis this, Elvis that. Yeah. She cried the whole way home. Got home and called my grandma.
Elvis died.
Did you hear the news? Well, yeah, it's on the news now. Elvis died.
It's not changing your life at all.
But that's the first time I ever seen anybody go berserk over a damn celebrity dying. I've never understood it.
They're as alive now as they've ever been to me because I've never met the fella. So,
I mean, there are people who die that is sad, and
Yeah.
it's a sad deal. I feel sorry for Jimmy Buffett's people that worked for him. There's a lot of people that he was the bell cow for a lot of families.
Yeah.
That provided for them. You know, I don't think they and he was really good lately because if you look, he never placed nowhere 2 nights in a row. I'm speaking out of turn because he probably did. I've said that, but he'd play like on a Saturday night, and then he'd go somewhere else and play on a Saturday night.
Right.
It was not a hard gig, and they made good money. It was a good deal. It's not like playing 6 nights a week or something. But I don't. It's kind of like the guy that died for Smash Mouth. I didn't even know his name. I always thought the other guy was a Smash Mouth song. The guy. I thought the other guy for Smash Mouth was their. Can't think of the dude's name now. Hey, now you're a rock star. Is that Smash Mouth?
Yeah, that's Smash Mouth.
What was the other guys in that band then?
I don't know. They only had like 2 good songs.
Yeah, I know.
The Goo Goo Dolls, since I guess this is going to be a music podcast today, they brought a kid up on stage. His sister made him make a sign that said,
Do you know how to play the
I can play this song.
Not tuning.
So they saw the sign. Kid's like 19 or something.
I'm serious. You really pass me by. Still can't turn away.
Why is the internet so slow today?
You'll get it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Jake.
But his sister made him make a sign that said, I can play that song.
All right, Jake, take it away.
And it's like an acoustic style song, so you're it. You fuck up.
What's that guy's name for the Goo Goo Dolls, the singer?
No idea.
He's got a great voice.
And even though the moment passed me by, I still can't turn away. Saw the dreams you never thought you'd
See, this is what musicians should be like, not what Miranda Lambert did.
Oh, she's a cunt. And I used to like her a lot, too.
People are spending their hard-earned money
that you never meant to
to watch you perform, and then you're going to be a bitch when they try to take a picture.
The crowd loves this, too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, you know, Goo Goo Dolls hadn't been relevant in 20 years, and
Now we're grown-up orphans that never knew their names. We don't belong to no one. That's a shame. Come on, Jake, sing.
no.
You could hide the sky, maybe for a while. And I won't tell no one your name. And I won't tell them your name. Come on!
That's what music should be like, not the shit that Miranda Lambert.
What's the band Dave Grohl? What's his band's called?
Foo Fighters.
Have you seen
Same
the
type
Foo
thing.
Fighters bring that kid
yeah,
up?
when they brought that kid up there.
Boy, he
Same type
jammed.
thing. You know, and I mean, then you got people that throw a fit because, heaven forbid, anybody take a selfie in the fucking crowd.
Miranda Lambert, I just don't understand that. I really, really like her. Matter of fact, that's probably the only woman that's on my playlist that I play. I really like her music. And I just did not understand why you have to try to make people look like an ass
Right.
when you're famous.
Right.
How hard is it to shake hands and visit and say thank you and ask someone where they're from?
Or just take a picture with them.
I mean,
lean down,
we are
give a little shitty smile, and
we are freaking nobodies in this world.
right.
How many people have come up to us in the last 3-4 years and asked for autographs and visits with us? How many one of them have you been rude to?
None.
I think I'm so honored that someone would even want to have their picture made with me.
Right.
And I get embarrassed signing an autograph, but I do. But I talk to people. And I ask everybody where they're from. I said, "Where are you from? Nice to meet you." I mean, it's not hard. Now they're getting 10,000 more of these at a time,
right?
But it's not hard to be nice to people.
And I'm socially awkward for me to go up to somebody that I kind of admire would take a lot out of me, and I don't think that I could ever get in that mental space to be like, "Hey, I really like what you do," or anything like that. I would never go up to somebody that I'm a fan of. It's just not in me. Now, when people come up to me, that takes. I understand that a lot of people are socially awkward, probably kind of like me. So the fact that they mustered up the gumption or whatever to come say hello to somebody that they've never met, I appreciate that. And, the fact that anybody would ever turn on our show or appreciate anything that we do, it's not supposed to be like that. So I appreciate everybody that's ever listened, and anybody that's ever come up and said hello. I try to devote to them as much time as they want to spend with me.
Yeah, if you're nice enough to come up and talk to me, by God, or want to meet me or something, I'm damn sure I'm just as interested in meeting you as you are me.
Yeah, I'm not going to try to rush anybody away.
No, but I've never understood that. But for her to call them ladies out,
yeah,
those ladies spent their money. Like they probably spent $500 for them tickets.
Probably, yeah, being that close to the stage.
Yeah, and then
100%.
to treat them like shit, I do not get.
Well, and then you're labeled a bitch to the rest of the country. Like
and that's what I think now.
Nobody's going to want to come to your next show. I don't know. I don't get it.
Miranda Lambert, I think, is the most talented female country singer in the last 5 to 10 years. Not saying ever. And the band that was before her that was females that were really good were the Dixie Chicks. And then they pissed everybody off with their George Bush shit, and they fucked themselves, I think. But
Miranda Lambert is the top female artist in the last 5 to 10
years. In the countryside, I think so. Who's next? Carrie Underwood? Taylor Swift? But Taylor's not really country. I would rather be around Miranda Lambert than Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift is a sweetheart, Jeff. She takes time with her fans. She is heart of gold.
I saw her video the other day about Trump. She's a freaking idiot.
Heart of gold. Oh, I didn't see that.
She's a damn idiot.
I'm not going to judge anybody.
But her dad is a Trump guy.
Yeah. Is he?
Yeah. And she was saying, I didn't want you to. She didn't want her dad upset with her.
Oh.
Her dad should be upset with her that she can't find a regular guy to date without writing a song about him.
Yeah, but you can't. You can't when you're at that stage.
She is as big a star as there is, and that proved it with all these Swifties and shit.
I mean, what are you going to do? If you're a girl and you've got all of this going on, I mean, you're not going to want a guy that's less successful than you.
Ain't she married a detective now in New York? Cop?
Miranda?
I think so.
I have no idea. She was married to Blake Shelton for a long time.
Well, but I think she met a guy that was a cop in New York City, and they met when he was her backstage.
And how could you and if you're the guy doing this, like you've got to be very secure in what you've got going on that you can handle a girl like Taylor Swift or Miranda Lambert or whoever else.
Well, I'm not denying
your normal guy can't be like, yeah, I'm going to date her and let her.
What about the difference in the girls that date guys that are famous?
Guys always go down in the socioeconomic status. Always.
So, Kenny Chesney's single, I think.
Is he?
I think. I don't know. He was married to Renee Zellweger for a week or two. Anyways, who would Kenny Chesney date that's on the same level as him?
Nobody. But that's not in the guy's makeup. It's not in our DNA. Okay. Guys are always looking for the damsel in distress to rescue. So it's not going against biology. Guys are always looking for the person to save. Women are not. Women are looking for providers. And if you are Taylor Swift or Miranda Lambert or a Dixie Chick,
who's Britney Spears with now? Well, she's fucking
nobody.
Out there. Well, she broke up with her bodyguard, dancer, dude, whatever he was.
Right.
So, or she was cheating on him. But so you're telling me if you're a famous singer,
you're a famous woman,
you can't.
You're gonna have a hard time finding anybody.
What about Selma Hayek?
I think she's been with that guy forever, though.
He's a billionaire.
Is he?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it looks like Renee Zellweger was his one and only.
Yep.
He's 5. Oh, no, that's Renee Zellweger.
He's not a very big guy, though.
Well, this acts like they might still be married.
No, they're not married.
They're not?
No.
Oh, yeah. Married in 2005, divorced in 2005.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
But okay, let's take Carrie Underwood. She's married to a hockey player.
Hockey player. Had his own career.
Yep. Boy, she's a smoke show.
Maybe that's how I should define it. When the female singers, like, what, you're gonna marry a video gamer, and you're this iconic pop star that has busted your ass and is still busting your ass on tour.
So you think it's easier for a star entertainer, a famous person that's a man, it's easier for him to date down than it is for a woman?
Yeah, listen, men are dogs. We'll take any smoke show that comes along. Are you kidding me? That's the criteria. I'm sorry, ladies. You know, we might love you for your mind in 5 years, but when we first start dating, it's all based off of looks. That's it. I don't give a shit how many books you've read when we first started dating.
I'm not going to argue with that. If your mom was good looking, I'd never ever want to ask her out.
You know, it's looks first, and then I'll appreciate you for your mind and your sense of humor and your sensitivity and the way that you provide for a family. That stuff comes later. But women in the dating process, you know, you got to have like fucking checklists with the modern day woman anymore. Being good, being hot ain't enough anymore. So
if you were single now, you wouldn't be?
But for what?
If you were single right now and you went out at a bar or club at night or wherever the hell you go, I don't even know where. I'm sure they do the same thing. Go to bars. I can't imagine the bar scene. I mean, that was a fun time to do when you're single.
Right.
I can't imagine today's kids not wanting to do that shit.
Right.
But you go to a bar at night and you meet this chick. You want the best looking girl in the bar. You know someone's going to catch your fucking eye. You don't want I've got a friend who's really funny.
No.
She's got a great personality.
Anybody that leads off with that, wrong. You've got a friend that does not have your best interest at heart if they lead with, I've got a girl you need to meet. She's hilarious.
Yep. If they say, I've got a friend, but now I'm going to ruin you. She's a real bitch. Set me up.
Right. So, for male entertainers, good looking, you got an in.
Like Jelly Roll. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Is his girlfriend an ex-stripper or something?
Ex-escort. Everybody calls her the gold digger, but what people don't know is she got with him like right after he got out of prison. So he didn't have a pot to piss in when they first got together.
So what's his story? I don't know nothing about the guy. Is the guy good for singer?
Oh, you haven't heard his music?
I probably have. I don't know who he is. I mean, I know who he is because I've seen him, what he looks like.
He's awesome.
So he's a great singer.
Fuck yeah.
So where's he from?
I don't know.
So she was an escort.
She was an escort. They got together, met at a bar, and from what I've heard, but yeah.
And now she's madly in love with this guy.
Madly in love with Jelly Roll.
And he's a very successful person now.
Now he is, but when he first came onto the scene, everybody's like, oh, he's got a gold digger for a wife and yada, yada, yada. And he's like, listen, I had nothing when we hooked up, and she took care of me. She's made way more money than I ever thought about making at that time. So, and I think she still does good now.
She's an escort still?
No, she does other stuff, but I think she's very successful in the business side.
Is she a pretty? I was just saying like pictures of her like on Instagram. I've never really looked at her. Is she a pretty lady or is she pretty rough looking?
She's good looking. Yeah, she's a good looking girl. Lady. Yeah. Good looking. Jelly Roll's got a voice though. That motherfucker can sing. Whew.
What's funny is to me when I see a successful male with a woman that's not very pretty.
Yeah. Like you could have done way better, buddy.
I think that so many times, like when I watch Hard Knocks and the players' wives, or sometimes I'm thinking, boy, I think you'd be doing a little better than that.
Tough road to hoe for a lot of people. Were you a H. Ross Perot guy?
No, not really. I mean, I didn't have nothing against him. My only thing I didn't like about H. Ross Perot was
got the scars to show for being around education reform.
I'd never heard anything about him.
You want me to finish my story on him?
Yeah, and then I'll press play.
I was never really big or against him either way. And then he had a boat in Bermuda, and his yacht was too big for the way to Bermuda, so they blew up a bunch of stuff to help him get his boat in. Mm-hmm. And that kind of threw me off. I thought, that's a rich guy throws his money around. But we would not have to deal with that bitch Hillary Clinton if it wasn't for H. Ross Perot. Because if he would not have been in this race right here, George Bush Sr. would have got reelected.
So H. Ross Perot is basically bashing public education.
Very smart man.
Yes, I've got scars to show for being around education reform. And the first word you need to say in every city and state and just draw a line in the sand. And public schools exist for the benefit of the children. You're going to see a lot of people fall over. Because anytime you're spending $199 billion a year, somebody's getting it. And the children get lost in the process. So that's step one. Keep in mind, in 1960, when our schools were the envy of the world, we were spending $16 billion on them. Now we spend more than any other nation in the world, $199 billion a year, and rank at the bottom of the industrialized world in terms of education achievement. One more time, you brought a front row box seat and got a third-rate performance. It's a government that's not serving you. By and large, it should be local. The more local, the better. Interesting phenomenon. Small towns have good schools. Big cities have terrible schools. The best people in a small town will serve on the school board. You get into big cities, it's political patronage, stepping stones. You get the job, give your relatives the janitor's jobs at $57,000 a year, more than the teachers make, and with luck, they clean the cafeteria once a week. Now, you're paying for that. Those schools belong to you. And we put up with that. And as long as you put up with that, that's what you're going to get. And these folks are just dividing up $199 billion and the children get lost. If I could wish for one thing for great public schools, it'd be a strong family unit in every home. Nothing will ever replace that. You say, well, gee, what are you going to do about that? Well, the White House is a bully pulpit, and I think we ought to be pounding on the table every day. There's nothing, the most efficient unit of government the world will ever know is a strong, loving family unit. Next thing, you need small schools, not big schools. A little school, everybody's somebody. Individualism is very important. These big factories, everybody told me they were cost effective. I did a study on it. They're cost ineffective. 5,000 students. Why is a high school that big? One reason. Sooner or later, we get 11 or more boys that can run like the devil, that weigh 250 pounds, and they might win district. Now, that has nothing to do with learning.
That's a Texas guy there.
Typically, half the school day was non-academic pursuits. In one place, it was 35%. In Texas, you could have unlimited absences to go to livestock shows. Found a boy, excuse me, but this gives the flavor. Boy in Houston kept a chicken in the bathtub in downtown Houston. Missed 65 days going to livestock shows. Finally had to come back to school. The chicken lost his feathers. That's the only way we got him back. Now, that's your tax money being wasted. Now, neighborhood schools. It is terrible to bus tiny little children across town. And it is particularly terrible to take poor, tiny little children and wait until the first grade and bus them across town to Mars, where the children know their numbers, know their letters, have had every advantage at the end of the first day that little child wants out. I'll close on this. You've got to have world-class teachers, world-class books. If you ever got close to how textbooks were selected, you wouldn't want to go back the second day. I don't have time to tell you the stories.
No, you don't.
Finally. But if we don't fix this, you're right, we can't have the industries of tomorrow unless we have the best educated workforce. And here you've got, for the disadvantaged children, you've got to have early childhood development, cheapest money you'll ever spend. First contact should be with the mother when she's pregnant. That little child needs to be loved and hugged and nurtured and made to feel special, like your children were. They learn to think well or poorly of themselves in the first 18 months.
Thank you,
And within the first few years, they either learn how to learn or don't learn how to learn. And if they don't, they wind up in prison. And it costs more to keep them in prison than it does to send them to
That's the first Donald Trump.
Rest my case.
That's what I was going to say.
That's actually, see, that was what year was that?
92?
No, it wasn't 92. It was 1988.
No.
80 to 84, 88, 92. Yeah.
Because it was Clinton and Bush, right?
Yeah.
Bush election was in 2000.
92. I was 24 years old. I probably didn't give two shits about politics.
He
Most
was the
23 or 24-year-old kids don't.
He was the first Donald Trump.
Yeah, he was. I didn't. But see, I didn't have kids. I didn't have a business. I mean, I was just starting in my business and stuff. I didn't think nothing about all that shit.
Right.
But listening to him then, and everything he said is the damn truth.
Mm-hmm.
That still fits for today.
Yeah.
Small schools, big schools, we need better families and stuff. And, you know, I saw Bill Clinton shake his head one time. I saw George Bush Sr. smile and laugh about it.
I saw George Bush Sr. check his watch also.
I don't think George Bush Sr. was a CIA guy. He was deep state.
Right.
Bill Clinton at that time, I don't think was a deep state guy.
Right.
And he could have been. He was a sorry fucker as a person, but I think he was a pretty good governor for Arkansas. I don't know for sure.
He was a good president.
He was not a bad president. He wasn't a bad president. He was better than anything we have right now for a long shot. His wife's an evil bitch.
But is that
I don't even think he likes his wife.
But is that one of those things that it just happens? Like, I don't think that they got there that way. I think it was being in politics for...
Watch House of Cards.
I think it was being in politics for 30 years that that needle gets moved further and further every year
Watch House of Cards.
on what you're willing to do. So right there in 92, like I'm sure Bill Clinton had a lot of good ideas and a lot of things that he wanted to get done. And then they set him down and they're like, okay, here's what you said. Here's what's going to happen.
There's only been one president the system did not like, and that was Donald Trump. And there's a reason they couldn't own him. Well, he wasn't the first, but they couldn't in the last 40 years. The other one was another guy they couldn't control what they do. They killed him in Dallas, Texas.
Yeah.
House of Cards, if you've never watched it, you need to watch it because it shows you how Washington works. They take a guy from Pennsylvania, steel mill, I think it was a steel guy, and dock worker or something. I don't remember what he was. But anyways, he got elected in his neighborhood to go to Congress. People loved him. When he gets to Congress, what the first thing they do, they go to a party, they get him on some cocaine, they get a hooker with him, they take pictures of him and shit, and then they own his ass.
Yeah.
And that's basically, I think, what happened to a lot of people. And I'm not saying it's all cocaine and hookers, but they get you. Our congressman we had before us, when he left Clarendon, Texas, was probably a pretty good guy. But he got to Washington, D.C., and he became a Washington, D.C. guy. Matter of fact, it was so good in Washington, D.C. that when he got out of Congress, he moved to Virginia and stayed there all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that happens to a lot of guys. And I think that's our problem with politics. And another thing, too, if you watch a committee in 1982 and it shows a bunch of politicians, it's the same some bitches we got up there running things now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they stay there forever. They never leave. But if H. Ross Perot doesn't run, we never have Bill Clinton as a president. Or we don't have Bill Clinton for at least 4 more years.
Yeah. Which means you don't have Bush for another 4 years.
Oh, I don't know how that all would have ended up playing out. But Bill Clinton was not a bad president, but also he had Newt Gingrich up there. Newt Gingrich was a good Speaker of the House.
How would that? Who did Clinton run against in '96?
Fuck, I can't remember. In '96,
I mean, I
can't remember who the Republican nominee was.
I guess H. Ross Perot ran again in '96. Choate.
H. Ross Perot is a really wealthy, successful Texan. He sold calculators for Texas Instruments.
Really?
And he would sell his yearly
Bob Dole,
yeah, from Kansas. He would sell his yearly. By January 3rd, he'd sell his whole yearly's worth of sales.
Really?
He was a really great salesman. And then he started E-Systems, or EDS is the name of it, which was a CIA-backed company too. So he owned a defense contractor.
I mean, if you look at this, he took out, which Bob Dole would have lost anyway, but there's your 9%, 8.5% that he took away from Bob Dole.
Electoral vote, though, was amazing.
Oh, 379.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. I mean, the red was all in the middle and stuff, but you go to the election before that, though. The 92 election, and you look at the difference between George Sr. and...
Do you see it up there? Because I don't see it.
No, you'll have to put it in on top and go 92 election. I remember that we were at a bar one night before the 92 election, and there
370 to 168.
Yeah, but it was but it was really close. Look at the 18. Look at the votes though. We'll go back to that again. 18.9% of the votes. You give them to George Bush, and we're talking 19 million votes. Let's say that Bush would have gotten 14 million of that. He would have won, anyways.
Yeah, because only 5 million votes separated them. Well, 6 million.
Yeah, but Ross Perot took a bit. He kept George H. from it. Anyways, we was at a bar, and a girl that we were really good friends with, and a smart girl at that, she told us, she says, "I'm voting for Bill Clinton." We're like, "Why are you gonna vote for Bill Clinton?" He plays the saxophone. I said, "That you're gonna vote for somebody over fucking a saxophone?" But that was that age.
Yeah,
and that's they made him the cool guy.
Interesting time. That was.
And Al Gore, did he really get elected? Would he have been the president in a fair election?
Right.
Did he really beat George Bush?
That's what I'm wondering. If it's like a tit for tat thing. If like whoever's running this whole thing is like, okay.
Yeah, but they could control
we're going to give you 2004. You're going to give us 2020.
But which one could they control more? They already had George Bush.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was CIA guy, so let's get his son in there. We can control him a little bit, maybe.
I don't know.
I still want to think to myself that George Bush did not know about 9/11 until 9/11. I think other people knew about it, but I don't know. I want to think that he was not involved in that, but I don't know.
2000, not because the 2000 election all came down to Florida, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and Gore won the popular vote.
Yep.
By only about 500,000 votes.
New Mexico is ridiculous. I don't understand. They're like, it's every state is this way. The big, like Illinois, the people I know in Illinois are great people, but they're ruined by fucking Chicago.
Bush won Florida by 537 votes is all.
Yep.
The Florida recount and when did that finally end?
They went to all kinds of speculation, and finally the Supreme Court got involved, and then Al Gore, I guess, was told, if you don't do this. What happened, I'm going to tell you what I think happened, and do not know this for a fact. Well, nobody does, but here's my opinion on this. Al Gore was told, listen, you can cede this election, and you can do your climate agenda bullshit and be very wealthy for the rest of your life over it.
Right.
Because, you know, he's the one that started all that shit.
88, oh, no, that was Bush. That was Bush Sr., right? 88 was Bush Sr.?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it said so a month long. So y'all went a month without knowing. Y'all got to January, basically, without knowing who won the election.
Right. And then we had to deal with, then we went through all this shit, and then we got the Trump deal, and then when they didn't want Trump, they wanted Jeb Bush to be the next Bush to come in. Bush was going to be the next, they were going to throw Bush in there.
Right.
That was the big thing. But they forget about something. They forget about the actual people that vote.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's backfired on them on this damn. They really thought, the deep state, that Trump would just go away and everybody would accept what's going on. Well, we're not, and nobody's going to, and that's what's causing the problem. Because they can't get rid of these people. And that Cheney's a crooked fucker, too.
What a time to be alive. I was in the 8th grade when this happened, so this was like the first one that I remember paying attention to.
See, politics didn't dominate TV and shit like they do now.
Lieberman. No,
I mean, when I was a kid growing up, we went through the White House still, the White, or what the fuck is it? In Washington, D.C., the scandal with Nixon.
Watergate.
We went through the Watergate stuff. And I remember as a kid on the news, it was on the world news, but it didn't dominate everything. And when and you know how most people got news back then? It was a newspaper.
Right.
And if you didn't want to read that shit, you didn't read it. You know, now you can't turn the TV on. It ain't something about politics.
I think we need to go back. I think we should limit. There should be a couple things we should do. Number one, drugs should not be able to have commercials on television. We're one of 2 countries that allow it, us and New Zealand. Nobody else does. You should not be allowed to announce your candidacy or run until 6 months. We should not. We've basically had 8 years. No, what year is this? Yeah, we've had 7 years of politics, 8 years of politics. Since Trump first announced that he was going to run in, 2015? It's been nothing but politics.
It was
8
before
years.
Trump was running.
Was it?
Fuck,
I don't
it's
remember
been
it
going
being
on
that
since
way.
since the Gore Bush shit. We need to limit how much money they can campaign money spend.
And the amount of time that they can do it.
Well, I'm not going to argue with on any of that. I agree with you, but they ought to limit how much money you can spend. You can spend $100 million on a presidential campaign. That's it. You know, I'm tired. Like, I don't watch regular TV anyways, so I don't see all the commercials and shit. But it's
everywhere. It was Moderna had an ad at the tennis match. Rogers took a picture and crossed out Moderna because he was watching that. Who's the guy?
I don't watch tennis.
Djokovic?
I don't know. Jimmy Connors, we'll say.
Sure.
But I don't watch any kind of regular TV at all. None, other than football. And all you get there is hard dick commercials.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you get. Cialis, Viagra, Blue Chews, whatever the fuck it is. or now it's all COVID bullshit. And
Yeah,
I just,
Novak Djokovic.
yeah,
Yeah, Moderna.
he marked it out.
He marked it out.
Good for him. But people are sick of that shit. They are, except the people in the media. If our media did their job, none of this shit would be going on.
Right.
It'd be squashed so fast. But you get people that watch the news and they're like, oh, well, that's what they tell us. Who's they? You know, it's an opinion. It's not the news. You don't have real reporters anymore. If you had real reporters, this Jeffrey Epstein shit would have been settled a long time ago.
Right. They would have demanded.
And then the Prince, is it Prince Andrew?
Yeah.
You know, he's in big trouble now. Supposedly he had sex with a 10-year-old boy and a 12-year-old girl in Ukraine, and they had to be in the hospital. That should be everywhere.
Yeah, but how do you, like, if that's not true, like, how are you going to do that?
If it's not true, then you come out and the reporter does it. We looked into it, and it's not a true thing. It did not happen.
But how do you know that they didn't look into that? How do we know that they haven't already looked into that and debunked it?
They haven't reported it at all. I'm just saying what's coming out of Ukraine.
But why would you report it if you don't know if it to be true? And do we trust any news that's coming out of the Ukraine?
No.
So that's what I'm saying. It's an impossible story to report on.
Well, let's look it up. It's Prince Andrew?
Yes.
Prince
what I'm saying is like
scandal.
you can't vet that. You're not going to get receipts. You're not going to get, you're taking one man's word for it. So I don't know how, as a news organization, you can write an article on that.
Well, he's been involved with a lot of stuff, and he was with Epstein, so I would definitely look into it.
I don't know. I'm going to give a little bit of grace because it's like, at what point do you become a tabloid at that point? I just don't know how you run.
Okay, here we go, right here.
I know it's a story.
Prince and
what's the cite your source? Who is it?
Medium.com, which I don't know nothing about. I'm just telling you what it says. Prince touched children inappropriately. It says former administrator at VIP Club in Kiev. Now, in the middle of a fucking war, what are we doing going to nightclubs? If things are so bad in Ukraine, they have nightclubs are zooming and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Would you, if Israel was being attacked by the Muslims, would you feel safe in Tel Aviv going to nightclubs at night?
No.
No, me neither. Prince Andrew, Duke of York, brother of King Charles, has already left behind a sordid trail of scandals. And now yet another scandal is rocking the internet. A Nigerian citizen named James Obasi on August 21st came out with alarming allegations of Prince Andrew boarding a helicopter in Kyiv on June 6th. Now, would you be taking a helicopter also if you were worried about Russia blowing shit up? No. Right. Obasi recounts on video the appalling chain of events which took place while British Secretary of State, blah, 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 blah. Now, let's see what it is. It says I'll support those. Now, what is a 10 and 12-year-old girl doing in a fucking nightclub?
If this story is true.
Obasi has been working at the club's administrator who oversaw the catering of VIP guests, blah, blah, blah. He was in the VIP lounge as usual, making sure everything was smooth.
Did you see where you're talking about Israel? Did you see where Netanyahu is planning to deport all African migrants from Israel after riots in Tel Aviv?
Do you blame him?
No. But you just mentioned, would you be doing this in Tel Aviv or whatever? And he's trying to get ahead of it.
Here we go.
Orders plan to remove African migrants after Anyway, they rioted.
It was a boy and a girl Obasi remembers, aged somewhere between 10 and 12. Andrew started talking to them, asking them their names. The girl introduced herself as Alina and the guy Demetrio. Andrew politely asked me to bring something for the kids. So I quickly rushed to get cheesecakes, pancakes, the usual snacks for kids. Oh, pancakes is a snack, but he was preparing the food for the children. I go back with the stuff 5 minutes later, and he saw something very, very disturbing. The children stood there in front of Andrew half naked, and they were sobbing, I think they were forced to do something. So, anyways, if they're half naked there, something's wrong. The guy's a piece of shit, and they had to shoot him. That's what I think.
If that story is true, yes.
Yes. And I don't know nothing in the background, but I think it needs to be further checked. But here we are in Ukraine. We've got 10 and 12-year-old kids half naked in a bar that's open. They get in a helicopter with them and they leave. Something is screwed up. Ukraine is not needing to get our billions of fucking dollars if they got a nightclub with 10 and 12-year-old kids half naked running around in them with the Prince of England in there, whatever the fuck he is.
Well, I mean, you've seen the videos coming out of the Ukraine. Like everybody's in line. Like it's just a normal. It's like a college town. Everybody's just going about their day.
Yeah, it's all a money laundering
20-year-old people are out in the street, and
we are funneling all of our money to Ukraine to funnel back to our politicians and to cover for Hunter and Joe Biden. That's what all this is about.
Right.
And the deep state is so involved in all this shit that they're doing this so they can keep their puppet master down. Look at that shit. Yeah.
There's your war-torn country.
Yeah.
There it is. There's Kyiv. Is that pronounced right?
Yeah, I don't. It fucking money laundering capital of the world. That is absolutely what.
Yep. There it is. Looks like Austin. Looks like a great place to be right now. Everybody's got billions of dollars. You know, the country's got billions of dollars, and
now he says they're not going to have an election there unless America and the EU pays him more money.
Yeah,
because it's not safe. Well, it don't look like it's fucking too unsafe there.
Anyway,
I'm betting you right now, if Russia put a missile in the middle of that fucking crowd right there, then you'd really get some outrage from the people.
Right. Then you might be able to drum up some money.
Yeah. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, we have let the deep state, these whatever the hell they call it. We always make the Russian oligarchs. It's the United States oligarchs is a problem. And then Biden comes out this last week and says the problem in our country is white supremacy.
Mm.
Our problem is he's half right. It's white. It's that fucking old cracker that's in charge right now. He is the problem. You know, we don't have a white supremacy problem. We have an elite problem in our country. And until we squash it, which we're never going to do, if I live another 35 years, we're going to have the same fucking issues we're having now. There won't be no changes.
Not without a big R word.
Do you think if they do you think that if they do somehow put Trump in prison and keep him off the ballot, I think that's the only thing that'll start a war in this country, a civil war.
I think you're going to be disappointed.
You think so?
Yeah. I think you'd be disappointed. Now, if they did that, like, the timing's got to be right. Like, if they do it now, if they do it right before an election, you're probably going to have a problem on your hands. But if you do it in March, people will be pissed off for a little bit, but I think by the time fall rolls back around, nobody will give a shit. People have moved on. Plus, there's a big percentage of people that are tired of they just want it to just go away.
But those are the people that got to wake up, or we're never going to be able to get it back. I mean, things are horrible. We're paying out the ass for gas. Electricity prices are ridiculous. They're draining everyone's account. We just don't even notice it. We notice it's high, but that's the plan. They're just going to keep, because once we're all broke, then we're dependent on them.
Mm-hmm.
We're no different. If they keep draining our accounts over a 2 or 3 year period, and the next thing you know, 3 years from now, you ain't got no fucking money and you ain't got no food, then you're in the same boat those people in those government houses are, dependent on the government to provide for you.
Right.
And, you know, now they're going to have some problem in certain states, big problems. You're going to have certain places that are really going to comply. But eventually, one of those big cities is going to fucking wake up, and I don't know what it is. I mean, how long can the city of San Francisco survive if all the businesses leave?
I don't know. I don't know what the plan is for all that, but maybe somebody will figure it out.
I mean,
it'll just stay a shithole.
I mean, we have a president that doesn't have any interaction with people.
Yeah,
None at all, and they just accept it, and it's just crazy. I just can't believe that many educated dumbasses are in the media. It really just shocks the shit out of me, because you know damn well if you're an anchor at ABC, CBS, you're a fucking educated person.
Yeah,
you didn't just get there because you're some dumbass liberal that they can control.
Well, there was something I saw, you know, the way that they made the Obama male lover story go away is they told everybody in the news, if you run this story, you won't have access to it, to the Obama administration. So nobody ran the story. He was going to be the sitting president, and ABC, CBS, NBC, they all wanted access to this presidency, so they didn't run it. But that's what the Obama camp told him. If you run this story, you will not have somebody in. You will not have access to this presidency.
Do you think the chef drowning is a coincidence or just an accident? Because that's what's sad.
And
if
that's
something really
another
does
thing.
happen,
You know, if
It's
he
just
just
like this
died
Prince-
of drowning, that's a real shame.
It's just like this Prince Andrews thing. Now all of a sudden they're saying he was found on the beach naked and all this other stuff. So I don't know. I don't know. Until somebody official comes out saying something, I don't know. But you just read shit, and so I don't know what to believe. I don't really care.
I want to see somebody like one of these pedophile guys have the dad get a hold of him. One day.
They did a long time ago.
That's what I want to see, though, is I want to see one of these dads or some man come up and take up for these kids and completely annihilate one of these dudes.
They did.
Or I want to see one of these bodyguards snap on one of these people and take up for the kids, like the Last Boy Scout with Bruce Willis. Oh, yeah, this guy here, yeah. No, I'm talking about a famous guy.
What do you mean?
I'm talking about one of these Epstein clients.
Oh.
Like, what's dickhead Forrest Gump?
Tom Hanks?
Tom Hanks. Somebody like that supposedly is involved in all that shit. I want to see somebody pop one of them so much upside the head. I'm not talking about shoot him or kill him. I'm talking about just would love to see them shine up with a shiner and somebody beat their ass for that crap.
They surrounded Bill Gates' car. I don't know where, but they were shouting murderer. So maybe they are waking up. I don't know.
I'm going to tell you right now, that's the thing with the bodyguards. You got 2 bodyguards and you got 1,000 people. Them bodyguards ain't got a chance.
Yeah. Well, and probably wouldn't take much to be like, you're on your own here, buddy.
Yep.
My life ain't worth yours. And it looks like it's overseas somewhere, maybe.
Yeah, it sounds like they're in England or somewhere.
England or something.
But people are finally going to have enough of this shit, and someone needs to do something with that crap. Needs to get these free. They get these free passes all the time.
Yeah,
it's that God complex, you know, and there's a lot of that going on out there.
All right, we can get off of here. It's been a very successful opening weekend. Everybody had a great time. Everybody rebooked for next year. So
we had a great opening weekend. I've got, I don't mean dove openings by any means. I've got some waterfowl openings still November, December, and January. I don't have much left in November at all. And I still got Nebraska hunts. If you want to go to Nebraska and shoot some ducks and some big geese, some mallards and some big geese up close on the Platte River, right next to the Platte River, holler at me. We have some dates in January left on it. If anything else, holler at us, give us a shout. Thank you for listening to us. God bless you and have a great week.
check out our sponsors. Dirty Duck Coffee, Cold Brew Time, Shin Gear, Looking Glass Podcast, Lucky Duck, Ducks Unlimited, Double T British Kennels, Mossberg, Stanfield Hunting Outfitters, Alpha Outdoor Specialties, Hemp Hill Farms, Dive Bomb Industries, Pacific Calls, and Lost Shot Show.